If I were hosting the Masters dinner, it would be a bucket of KFC, some stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut, and one of those lava cakes from Domino's for dessert.
Well, it's a good thing you have no chance of donning the green jacket, Tim.
I certainly don't.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. We waited long enough to do this. The Players' Championship is now in the rearview mirror. We are talking major championship future bets and previewing each of the tournaments. The Masters, the PGA Championship, the US Open, or the US Open, as some people like to refer to it as, and the Open Championship, plus maybe time for a Cust Corner mini right in the middle. Geoff, you are on the line. Do you have a lot of future bets already in?
None. I shouldn't say none, but like very, very few. I think 3 in total.
It's been very difficult in the futures market right now in golf because, I mean, as you kind of put it, it's like crack to people. They want to get in. They want to be right early. But 7 years ago when we were doing this, they were just hanging big numbers on players. Now it is exactly the opposite. They've crunched everyone's number and no one drops. If you go up on the futures board, you're never coming down until the week of.
It's only one-way traffic, as I like to say. If you're playing well and maybe you've won something, you'll take a dip. But if you are playing horribly, they're smart enough. They're not just raising numbers. There's enough runway to the Masters for someone, to start playing better. Yeah, it just felt like back in the day there were more advantageous numbers on the lower tier. I don't mean like the bottom tier, but like not the top guys. Now it feels like everyone is crunched. You're really just being cocky to make a Masters, to make a future of any kind. I've only got 3, and 2 of them are on the same guy in different in different events. So that's how little I'm walking with. At the same time, Pat, I mean, like the majors are just won by the really good players, and I'm not ready to decide in some ways which of like the 8 players are going to win. Their odds are short enough to begin with already, and I'll just lose a couple points, but I'm not ready to decide which guy in the top 10 is going to win the major just yet.
No, we can wait for that week of and see if we get a boost or we get better odds, because the odds just simply get better the Monday before the major actually starts, unless there's like one guy who's super popular at 90-1 and he goes to 50-1. Everyone else, they just go the other way. Bringing in the third member of the team, the historian of these majors, it is Tim Cust.
Tim Cust.
It's not my name.
You are the historian, though. I enjoy your stories.
I do have a deep appreciation for the majors, and hopefully I can pull out a tidbit as memorable as when I described to everybody what the fair catch free kick was.
It's true, although Royal Portrush doesn't leave you with a lot of history to work with.
It does not. It was just one turn. The only thing that we can remember from that tournament is Brooks tapping on his wrist over and over again as JB Holmes put on the third different glove for that shot.
What did JB Holmes shoot that day? Was it 89?
80? He's something massive.
I now have to go effort this. 2019 Open Championship. Oh, JT was number 11. Good for him. Because Brooks played with JB in the second. He shot 87 is what he shot in the final round.
87. That's what Rory shot in the first round.
In the second to last group as well, going into Sunday.
It was brutal. It was brutal. That was sort of a runaway, but still.
It was. I actually, when I go back and reviewing and doing the research for this, I forgot how much that Lowry actually won that tournament. He won by 6.
Yeah, it was a runaway. The wind wasn't up that week. That course didn't really show its teeth the way that it could if the weather was up.
And when you remember that, he had recently blown like a 3 or 4 shot lead at Oakmont to DJ on a Sunday. So
that was that was 3 years previous.
Well, wow. Jeez, time freaking flies. Time flies. But I'm sure going into that Sunday, we were all being like, hey, blew to DJ, he'll blow it today. But he played outstanding.
I wish I still had my old computer because I had all of my old articles saved on it that I used to write for a different place, but now all those articles have been wiped from the internet. I just remember there was a list of 5 guys who I had as all the open trends, recent form coming in that met the criteria, and Lowry was one of the 5. I just recall that because I didn't bet him, but he was on the short list that I had made because that's what I do. I picked
The
Cust
most
to win.
devastating thing you lost from your old computer was your soundboard of the Charlie Sheen clips.
I could get the Charlie Sheen clips back. That was like that was like 4 computers ago.
Oh, okay.
That was the one I spelled. We had when Cody and I lived together in Toronto, when I first moved back from New York, we had a liquid ashtray in the middle, and we just smoked in our living room the entire time. And someone knocked it over onto my computer, frying it.
That's an emergency.
Yeah, it was not great. Yeah, putting it into a bucket of rice didn't work either. That was unfortunate. Oh, Jeff's watching Rumble videos over there.
Well, at least he's only human.
Wasn't Rumble.
Is there
Wasn't Rumble.
is there Chargers news that's very like inconsequential that you need to know about right now?
Nope. Something just popped.
Okay.
Something just popped. That's all.
It
It was
did?
an accident. It was an accident, but it wasn't Rumble. It was YouTube.
Okay. Okay, Lib, figure it out. Tomorrow's show is going to be about the Houston Open. Jeff and I will make our picks for that. We'll have the one and dones, but obviously I'm still traveling on this, a very fine Monday, so that's why we're talking about majors season and the futures that we have in so far. What?
A very fine Monday.
It is a very fine Monday.
Yes, isn't it a great Monday?
I'm guessing it's a very fine Monday. That's what I'm guessing. I mean, my predictions are usually pretty bad, so it's probably a terrible Monday for everyone. Maybe the Earth won't even be here anymore. Maybe I'll have died in a plane
then
crash,
it doesn't
and you're
matter
watching
what we
this
say
because it's already scheduled.
We're getting closer to spring. We get more sunlight. It's a great Monday.
We're not getting closer to spring because it's Monday. Spring has already come.
Are you saying that spring is a premature ejaculator?
I'm saying the vernal equinox will have already taken place on this fine Monday.
Let's
That's
talk.
why you're in such a bad mood.
One of the reasons.
Well, we'll get to your reasons otherwise. But Augusta National, the Masters, you may have heard of it. It is the first major of the year. It's the odds right now, Jeff, are broken down into tiers of really. It's a 2-man tier, then a 6-man tier, and then you can kind of interchange depending on where you look. Scheffler and Rory are the overwhelming favorites right now. Then you got Rahm, Xander, Bryson, Ludwig, and Morikawa as that next tier. And then it's the rest of the regulars that you would assume are like Justin Thomas is 30, Neiman's 30, Cantley's 30, Fleetwood's 35, Brooks is 35, Hatton's 40. But do you agree with that tiering of players for the Masters right now? Rory and Scotty above everyone else, then that next tier of 5.
Yeah. It's hard to, I think it would be hard to convince me that it's not properly tiered at the moment.
Do you think it's strange that the number 1 player in the world, Joaquin Neiman, isn't the betting favorite, Tim?
You're reading off of my paper. That is what I was about to say. I was going to say that the first 2 should be where they are. Neiman, who probably is the best player in the world
What
right
the fuck
now.
are you talking about?
At worst, the second best player in the world
You
right
think
now.
that Joaquin
Should be-
Neiman is the second best player in the world right now?
I
The guy with
kinda
the guy with the
Dominant.
same amount of wins as Sergio has over the past 6 months.
Sure. Okay. Denigrate it all you want.
I'm not.
Denigrate his
I like
performances.
Sergio, but it's crazy. Like, so you think he's better than Scheffler is what you're saying?
His game right now is better than Scheffler's. When was the last time Scheffler was exceptional? Paris.
And he won the Hero, which is basically a live event.
Like,
What
he
are
hasn't
we
been
what
good
are
since
we
Paris.
doing?
He shouldn't be 30 or
What
40
are
to 1.
we
He should
doing?
be about 12 to 1.
What do you?
He's never even been top 50. I love this guy.
Rory
I
has
had
never
him at
won this tournament either.
I had him at every major last year, 80 to 1 across the board. God, I wish I could have those again. But what are we doing here, Tim? Like what is your objective?
I think he's an excellent player who doesn't get the
Gaslight
credit he
Nick-
deserves.
Hold on.
tweet-
There's something different between being an excellent player, which everyone acknowledges that he is, and being the second best player in the world at the moment.
At the moment, yes.
Yeah, he's not.
Okay. Well, I hope
He was better at this point last year than he is right now.
the good thing is he'll automatically qualify for all these majors because he's going to be the number 1 player for the automatic buy-in from Live for all the majors.
Well, he's in 3 of the 4 majors already.
yeah, but he will be automatically in the one that he isn't because he'll have the buy-in.
Did the Open? I believe the one he's not in is the U.S. Open. Did the U.S. Open agree to that?
I thought they all did. Yeah.
I didn't know if the USGA had gone in on that or not. I mean, he's pretty close to, like, he and Sergio have been by far the best two players on LIV. And Sergio's only in the Masters and PGA. He needs the US Open and the Open.
And I expect him to play very. As I think we talked about a couple of Mondays ago. I think Sergio's going to play really well here too.
I mean, I've been doing the underdog best ball drafts. He is the best, like, 8th, 9th round, 10th round pick there is. No one's drafting
This is
him.
the LIV course. This is the course where this is the major where the LIV guys tend to do the best
The Masters?
because they know the track. If you look at the last 3 years and who was in the top 20, like the LIV guys tend, as a rule, to do better here than elsewhere.
Well, I mean, by volume, they bought half the living champions.
That's fair. That's fair.
Last year, there was 3 LIV guys inside the top 20. They were inside the top 10.
Considering what percentage of the field they are, they're only 15% of the field. That's about average.
Pat,
And the year before, they had the winner, the runner-up, the guy who was leading after 54 holes in Koepka.
They
if
played
I had
really,
to make a move right now, I probably if you said make a pick right now, Rom 15 or Xander 18 would probably be.
I feel like
the
those.
bet I'd make.
I feel like those numbers are better by the time we get there. Like unless
Yeah,
Rom
maybe.
wins, which he never seems to do, then it's gonna be tough. And then
They only have one more tournament, and that's the
Doral.
one at Doral.
yeah, and Burmeister's gonna win that again, so it's not gonna be a problem. But
Rom,
There's no-
Sergio, and Neiman. There you go. There's 3 very strong contenders.
There's no way. The only guys who are winning this who aren't near this top are guys with an insane pedigree or something. Those are the only. You're either already a world-class player, or I think one day you will be one of these top players.
Or you've had tremendous success at this place in the past.
I don't even who is that?
yeah, what do you mean when you say that?
Which player would qualify for that isn't who would win in the middle of the odds board, Tim?
Adam Scott.
Okay, so a guy who's already won the Masters.
That's what I mean. Someone who's already had tremendous success here.
Okay, so a former champion is what you're saying. Are you talking about Russell
Yeah.
Henley, a player
No.
like that?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about someone like Adam Scott.
But when was the last time you saw one of that type of player win? Like a guy who won 20 years ago, and all of a sudden they just win the Masters again.
Angel Cabrera, I guess.
When was when did
2009, right? When he beat Kenny Perry.
Sure, but had he won the Masters before?
No, yes, he had actually. Now that you mention it,
I
Yes,
thought he
believe
won.
had.
I thought he had won the
He
U.S.
had won
Open.
U.S. Opens. Maybe that was his first Masters. I'm trying to think who else would fit that. Obviously, Phil finishing second here 2 years ago.
Well, second's
would
not winning.
fit that motif. No, second is not winning. You're right.
Reed came second that year too. That was also a waterlogged year. They had to play 30 holes on Sunday.
Yeah, well, that happens all the time.
It doesn't happen all the
Weird.
time.
They have weird.
That does not happen all the time, Tim. I thought you were supposed to be a historian. That does not happen.
There's weather delays at the Masters more than people like to remember.
They don't usually jam in 2 rounds on one day.
No, not usually 2 rounds, but they do weird stuff. I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to rack my brain about other champions. Yeah, Cabrera's the last one I can think of who won it outright like that.
So 16 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Watson in 2014 wasn't as good as he was even 2 years before that. That was a bit of a surprise win.
Bubba was in the middle of his prime. He won it 40-1.
And the
Yeah.
thing about Pat, when we first started doing the show, the middle of obviously there was the Willet, which is probably the true only outlier since we've started doing the show.
But by the time it hit, he was 60-1 or 50-1.
Yes. So in those first 4 or 5 years, it felt like the middle of the board was a sweet spot. Willett off the board at 60.
Sergio at 50.
Sergio, Reed.
Hideki.
What did Hideki go off at?
Drifted to 40. It felt like that other tier had a great run right behind the big boys. Had a great run for a few years, but it seems like I don't know. I don't really trust any of them. And right now, the odds board, There aren't a ton of guys between 50 and 100 to 1 right now.
There is one who weirdly fits Tim's criteria. Someone who's played well at Augusta, is coming in a bit of a better form right
Corey
now.
Connors?
I was going to say
Dustin
Jason
Johnson?
I was going to say, no, good God, no.
Justin
Jason
started playing a lot better last week, by the
Yeah,
way.
great. He had 2 good rounds on a Live Tour event for the first time in fucking 24 months. Congratulations. Didn't win either.
Well, but start
But
somewhere.
what a fucking hero he is. Yeah, how much? I will take your Dustin action. I'm seeing a 90 to 1.
No.
How much would you like to bet? I will pay you out.
Those odds are actually too short. They should be like 120.
I heard he was great, according to you, 8
No,
seconds
but he would
ago.
fit. He would fit the.
Jason Day would be my answer to this. He's still playing well. He's a bit older. If you get the right conditions for him, he's going to have the metal to do it. He is a major champion, and he's playing a little bit better golf right now. He still has a bit of the game you need. He's also one of the guys who can completely flame out at the same time. But seeing him at 80 to 1 seems like a pretty decent number. That's the same as Cam Young and Tom Kim. I like Day better than those guys.
I think that's a great observation. I'm not saying I'm betting it, but in terms of like, yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Maybe from the area.
So I have 2 futures in right now on the Masters. Actually, 3 on the Masters. I bet Bobby Mack over the weekend. Bobby Mack had our friends, coolbet.com, had 150 to 1 on him. So I took 150 to 1 on Bobby Mack. So I bet 2 lefties, Tim. I got Akshay at 110 to 1, Bobby Mack at 150 to 1, and I bet Sergio at 175 to 1.
Of those 3, the only one would even remotely intrigue me is Sergio. I don't like the other 2's chances very much.
Please break down why you don't like Akshay.
I don't think he's got the mettle to win a big major tournament. Yeah, we saw it this week that, he was in the hunt. Or sorry, last week because it's Monday. Last weekend, we saw him play in a big spot, and Saturday he crumbled and he didn't have it.
I was actually encouraged by his Saturday.
He played better on Sunday.
But he did.
He came back on Sunday, but
no,
Saturday he didn't have it.
This people who win major championships rarely go out and fire 4 amazing rounds. What impressed me so much about Akshay Saturday, Jeff, at the Players, was he didn't have it at all and kept himself in it. Like, he could have been 80 easy, and he just wasn't. He just grinded pars. He grinded everything out when everything wasn't working, and the putts just didn't drop for him on the back 9, but he came out surging to go make a run on Sunday. I thought for the first time, him being in a prestige event like that and him actually going out and firing a good round on Sunday to try to give himself a chance to win, I thought it was super encouraging.
That broomstick on the fiery greens is not going to be a recipe for success.
Scott did it.
Adam Scott did do it. It wasn't his first time around. It wasn't his second time around. He'd been to that place many, many, many times.
So to let Tim know, I think I was the one who...
Bernhard Langer had a top 10 8 years ago with a broomstick, Tim.
And he's back to play this year, I note.
Well, he hasn't teed it up yet. Remember the last time you mentioned his name?
Maybe he should not play pickleball before the Masters this year.
Go ahead, Jeff. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I do that plenty. I think I put you on that Boccia ticket. I'm on it myself. I was encouraged by the Players. I like him just increasing the inventory of high leverage reps. The Masters is obviously a big ask. I think it's still 80 to 1. It might be 120 to 1 by the time we're here, right? They might just put a little air into everybody who isn't considered one of the top guys. But I'm shooting for the ceiling. I think the kid's got the goods. This is the first and only Masters future I'm sitting on.
Did you know, Tim, that Neiman and Scheffler have played in 16 majors together?
No, I didn't know that. But
what do you think they are?
He doesn't know. He doesn't even know what Neiman's best finish in a major is, and he's telling us he's the second best player in the world.
It hadn't been a top 20 before the Open Championship last year, right?
No, he had a T16 at the Masters 2 years ago. But Scheffler has played with Neiman 16 times in majors. What do you think the records are against each other?
I'm guessing you're bringing this up because Scheffler's is much higher.
Yes, that's true. So take a guess.
So it should be. Scheffler's won 2 majors.
Take a guess.
And Scheffler's been...
Take a guess.
I don't know. We'll say 15 to 1.
That is correct. But you just told me Neiman's better than Scheffler.
That sounds like a Jets prediction record, 15 and 1. You've had a few of those, right?
Yeah, I have, Jeff. I have had a few of those. I'm not here to give accurate predictions, and no one is listening to me to provide accurate predictions.
We don't need you also being disingenuous, though. Crazy takes are fine. Intentionally,
I feel the way I do about Neiman. I think he's playing the second best golf of anybody.
because Phil
That's a
told you
put
that.
on.
If you don't want to say he's the second best player, fine, and we're splitting hairs. The way he's playing golf right now
He
is
plays in an exhibition league against the same 12 dudes every week.
If it was an exhibition league, why do they get free?
So
entry
why,
into
like
the
Billy
championship?
Horschel has been dominant in TGL? Can I say he's the fourth best golfer in the world?
If you want to, if you think TGL is legitimate,
I love Neiman. I'm not even gonna play to the game of putting holes in Neiman. I think you're being disingenuous.
I think he's playing fantastic. He's better than Rahm. He's the best player on the Live Tour right now.
Do you think he's better than Rahm?
Yes, I do. I actually
mean-
do think that.
We do agree there's
Okay, I know.
Like the
Here's
US
what-
Open and the
here's what I agree with. Why is Neiman better than Will Zalatoris? Honestly. Who has a better major track record? It's clearly Will Zalatoris. They were the same level of player that we think in our minds, like when they were both on the PGA Tour. One guy goes away with his 2 career wins and goes to live and beats up on the same dudes every single week.
I would rather bet Patrick Cantley at 40-1 than Neiman at 30.
That would be
staring at
that
this
would be a
let's-
popular Masters win. That's one that people would go wild for.
No, I'm just
And
staring
Patrick
at this
Cantley has
odds board.
won
but
the
Neiman,
Masters Championship.
I think when the Masters gets here, Neiman will be back to like 40, 45 to win. I do think I'd actually consider betting him at that number for a PGA Championship or a US Open. Less inclined here at all, to be honest.
Bobby Mack has played in 2 Masters in his career, 2021, 2022, when I think he was just in his early 20s. He has a 12th and a 23rd, and he is clearly a much better player now. Tim, you told me for years, we've seen the results with Akshay, and I mean, Akshay played very well in his debut last year as well. It's easier for lefties.
It is easier for lefties who have a knowledge of the course. There's no doubt about it. And there's going to be like 6 or 7 in this field, which is a lot.
Yeah, who's there going to be? There's going to be Harmon,
Highsmith.
Phil, Highsmith, Akshay, Bobby Mack,
Weir.
and Weir. Yeah, so there would be 6. You playing Weir in the low lefty market?
No, but every 5 years or so he sneaks up and makes the cut. So he could be the not worst. If there's no such thing as a not worst lefty market, but he could be the not worst lefty.
So you think that every 5 years Mike Weir makes the cut?
Did you
He
say
made the
Baba?
cut in what, 2025 or 2020? Sorry,
He has made one oh sorry, I got that wrong. That is
I thought he made the cut in the Autumn Masters.
He did, and that was the first one he
Okay.
made since so he's made one of the past 9 cuts at the Masters.
So in other words, he is due for his second in 10 years.
Sure, if you want to call Mike Weir due, then yes, absolutely he is due. I'd probably stay away from the Mike Weir market, although I did cash an awesome 4-1 bet with him 2 years ago. I want to say he was up against Kevin Na in the first round, Jeff, in a 2-ball, and I bet Mike Weir. It's like, well, hell, I mean, Kevin Na could shoot 90. Who knows? It's Kevin Na. He withdrew after 4 holes. It was awesome.
After what happened for you last year at the Masters, you have a carte blanche not to complain for a couple of years.
That's true. Winning.
Did Tim come to Vegas?
No,
No.
Tim wasn't in Vegas, and people had to tell me that I won $25,000 because I didn't realize I did. Fun times. Didn't even have to sweat it. I assumed it was a loser. But that's 2 to make the cut parlay winners. 2 of the past 6 years I've hit that. So now I'm
But
doing.
you always say this is the one to do it in too, right?
It is the one to do it in because you get the top 50 in ties, and you can basically cross off what? 15 guys at the bottom, maybe let's be easier on ourselves here. We'll say between the seniors and the amateurs, 2 of those 13 guys are going to make the cut, maybe, but probably max 2. So realistically, you're dealing with a field of what? 75 guys, and it's top 50 and ties.
50
and you need
10 strokes, right?
No, the 10 strokes rule is gone. It's just top 50 in ties. But the thing is, if it happens like last year, I think like 61 guys ended up making the cut because so many people tied for that last spot that there's a chance that like 70% of the field makes the cut.
Yeah, and compared to the U.S. Open, where it's just top 60 in ties, and there's 125 guys in the mix.
156 players in the U.S. Open.
156. There you have it.
And
So-
then in terms of an outright winner, if you're playing the Brooks Koepka game, Like, how many actually think can win? Like 25?
Yeah, I mean, all the guys I bet I think can win. Like, I could see Sergio winning. Like, he is playing good. Like, I could see Neiman winning too, but I just don't think he should be second on the odds board. I don't think he's the second best player in this field. I wouldn't bet Sergio if he was 40-1, but 175-1 for a guy who's playing as well as he is. And I do think he's playing with real vigor right now. This is the last chance he has to make a Ryder Cup team. And if he does play well enough, I'm pretty sure they're going to take him.
Would he be a popular victory, do you think, with the fans or not?
I think it would be an awesome victory. Like, if you could pick one guy that people hate enough, like Reed would be one thing, but Sergio coming from Live
The
and
hate has
winning
gone
the
out of Reed.
Masters. What's that?
The hate has gone out of Reed. Reed has become so irrelevant. I think the hate is sort of like gone.
No, but if he got himself into the mix, people would be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
God,
it would
here we
it'd
go."
come back quickly.
Maybe.
Pat-
Okay.
Pat's right.
Like, if we had to rank who would be the most fun winners, I mean, but the stock answer from we can try to think about it this one of two ways. Like, what is good for the sport in order to happen? I don't think any Live guy winning is good for the sport, but for me personally, I would really enjoy it. So I think Rory winning would be the best story because he did it. And then we never have to talk about it again. It cements Rory. He gets the loser tag off of him, and everyone can just go back to thinking like, man, Rory's like one of the 10 best, maybe 5 best golfers ever. He completed the Grand Slam. He has fucking 50 wins worldwide, and it can stop from that narrative. So I would enjoy that. I'd just like to see him get the monkey off his back. I keep forgetting that Rory is like 5 years younger than me. Dude has aged fucking 15 years in the past 2 years.
He looks like a completely different person.
Like this Live stuff aged him. It's like, when they talk about presidents, that when you saw Obama 8 years later, it looked like he had aged 30 years. That's what's happening to Rory right now. Like, he's the one dealing with all of this shit. He's taking the brunt of all the shit. He has to deal with all of it. And it doesn't seem like anyone's actually telling him what's going on.
And it didn't help that, like, the moment of the golfing year last year was, of course, him missing that putt, at the U.S. Open. Like, that is scarring.
His personal life, like being dragged through the gossip stuff.
That
and
too
then,
does not help.
And then some real disingenuous Twitter accounts with a lot of followers pirating this fucking that Balionis nonsense. Like, he puts up with a lot of shit. And like we said, like, he wins the Players. It still doesn't seem like he gets like credit in some weird way.
Because a player of his level only gets credit, Jeff, when they win major championships.
Yes,
when they haven't won one in 10 years.
Can I make
Sorry.
like a weird? Yes, no. There's red meat to why he shouldn't get credit. I'm not going there. But this might sound really strange. But for how good everyone knows Rory is, he's not as good as they think he is, if that makes any sense. Like, he's incredible, but people think he's actually better at golf than he actually is at the same time of knowing he's great at golf. I don't know if that made any sense.
It didn't.
But people
he's not Tiger Woods, is your point.
No, but
Yes,
but that is the disingenuous part right there. Because someone even brought that up to me. It's like, well, Tiger never missed those. He's not fucking Tiger Woods. No one is Tiger Woods.
No, but he did replace Tiger in the video game, right? It did become Rory McIlroy PGA.
Well,
Like,
what was your option? Either replace Tiger with someone or stop having the game?
No, but what it does is it creates a level of expectations.
Whatever.
For the
Players are on the cover of video games. It's
not on the
just
cover.
he's the
It was
greatest
named after
player.
him.
He's the greatest player of a generation, but he's not nearly as good as the great player in the generation before.
He's basically Phil, honestly.
Yeah, sure.
He's like reverse Phil. He won all his majors early.
Sure, but like when you look at like the totality of their careers, especially their longevity, they're gonna look pretty similar by the end of it.
Yeah, I think so.
I root for Rory. I find him a likable fella. He speaks a lot, and in speaking a lot, it ends up, he has to speak out of both sides of his mouth. I'm enjoying it. He's going to enter the Masters with 2 premier stateside wins on courses that didn't even involve heavy driver usage. It's all great signs. You don't even, I'm at the point, and I've said this for a few years, I don't even have to bet him to win the Masters.
To be happy.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't clip my guy, or my guy who I've bet on doesn't blow an insane lead, or it's this lifetime visual of a choke job that will be replayed forever, I'll be so happy for Rory. It'll be like I want to bet. You know, it'll be such a great moment. Nothing would be better for the sport than Rory winning it. But yeah, Phil or Sergio would be the fucking like equally fuel story.
Yeah.
Like Sergio winning the Masters would be insane, incredible. And then Spieth.
Yeah,
right?
Spieth
would have to
Spieth
be
is the
right
other one.
there too.
Weirdly, Tim, like when you look at all the trends, if Spieth can somehow manage one more top 10 at wherever the hell he's playing before the Masters, he will fit all of the trends of what you need to actually win the Masters.
I believe it. I still am of the opinion that the ghosts of Augusta are just going to keep clawing at him.
And he's not
And
as
I will
good
never,
anymore.
no. And I'll never pick him to win until he gets that off his back, and I just don't know if he will.
Well, you won't pick him to win until he wins?
Like, yeah, like I would never think he could. I would never believe he could really win here until he actually wins here again.
I would think that if he's ever going to win here, he would have to do it almost like the year when he won when Reed won. So Reed outdueled Fowler, but Spieth was like 7 under on Sunday and just made a charge from not the middle of the pack. I think he was like T13 going into the final round, and he just posted a number, and they almost came back to him. He lost by 2
Do you think
shots.
he would rather win here again and get the monkey off his back, or would he rather win the month after at the PGA?
I can almost guarantee you he'd rather have a second green jacket.
Then the Grand Slam?
Yeah, I do.
Interesting.
I don't think the Grand Slam actually means all that much. It's a really before. I can't remember anyone ever talking about it. Like, there was 2 instances I remember people talking about it. One is with Rory because he doesn't have it. And the only reason people bring it up is because he should have won in 2010. And that he gagged away that Masters at such a young age. That would looking at it in retrospect.
Everyone brought it up about Phil every
Phil
single year at the
forever.
U.S.
He
Open.
went to,
And he threw the
Phil,
winged foot
I
U.S.
mean,
Open away.
You know, when I get a chance to finish my second point, maybe I can say the same thing that you just cut me off to say.
Okay.
I don't know why.
But because they gagged the tournament away. It was theirs to win, they lost it, and they had the other 3. And then from that point on, it gets talked about like, oh, they'd have the Grand Slam because this one thing didn't happen. It doesn't even feel like that's in the, like, with Spieth, it's not even a thing right now.
No, but
he's
but
just
Phil,
you know
though,
why? Because
he
the
finished
PGA
second.
Championship is something.
yeah, no
Phil
one cares.
also finished second like 7 times at the U.S. Open. It wasn't just
We don't even
Wingfoot.
go.
He got it stolen from. Like Payne Stewart stole it with that huge
to
putt,
Pat's
and
point,
So
no,
did Justin Rose.
Payne Stewart stole it from him because Payne Stewart, it's a lot like I just talked about with Malnati and Cam Young. Malnati went out and took that tournament. Payne Stewart took the tournament. Justin Rose took that tournament at Marion in 2013 from
I think
Phil.
you spoke about that off air.
Phil, oh, did we?
Just
Oh, so,
confusing
whatever.
people. You're just confusing. What the fuck, Mel Naughty in a major show versus Cam Young?
We were talking about Valspar just before this. Anyway,
You're right. He didn't hit it into the woods.
he didn't
on
hit it into a
18.
fucking garbage can on 18 to lose to Jeff Ogilvy.
That was rough.
Like, he lost that tournament. Like, Spieth, like Danny Willett won the Masters. Spieth lost the Masters that year.
Yeah, when you have a 5-stroke lead when you make the turn, you should never lose.
So I think
Well,
I think for his career, it's better, like you said, to get the monkey off his back, get another, and I think he has a better chance of winning at Augusta than any other major. Like, it's easier for him
That's
to
obvious. But
I think that's true.
well, I don't think it's a guarantee he would pick a Masters over a PGA. Like, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but in defending Pat's point, it's pretty clear how when we get to PGA Championship week, even when Spieth wasn't at his total bottom, the Grand Slam for Spieth is like a 4th story. It's never carried any part of PGA Championship week ever. So it's almost like the media doesn't even care.
Well, and that just buttresses your point about the role of the PGA Championship in the pecking order of things.
Listen, I like it.
No,
It's a great tournament. They go to great courses. That was just a joke to ruffle you.
But you also take Jeff out of context when he talks about the PGA Championship as well. You take him seriously when he says he likes it. You're like, well, you think it's the best major, because that's how you like to argue. But it has been so much better over the past 5 years.
I think it's a fantastic major. I think it's better than the Masters by and large. Masters, when was the last good Masters we had?
Tiger, yeah.
That was
Actually,
6
that's not
years
true.
ago.
The Rom Brooks one was really good, too. Like,
It
it
was
sucked.
broken
No,
up.
no,
It
no.
was a little weird.
It
but
sucked
yeah.
because
It
it
was
got condensed into Sunday, but that was a good down to the wire. You even had an
All won by
amateur.
4 strokes.
By the end of it, sure. But that was a very competitive Masters until the final few holes because Brooks couldn't get it going. But everything got condensed into that day, so Sunday was a lot closer throughout the totality of Sunday, and then towards the end. Like last year, it was like there was a 15-minute period when we were watching that in Vegas, Jeff, and it was just over. And Jeff,
Yeah. I think I went back to the room for a little. It was like, okay, I'm gonna like just
And it was
lie
the same
down.
in the year previous when Scheffler won too. Like there wasn't a whole lot of fight.
No. I mean, we haven't even talked about Scotty yet, but like, I just hope he doesn't win. He'd be the worst
Or
person.
Bryson.
No, Bryson winning would be great, honestly.
I mean, we haven't talked about Bryson yet, and Bryson would be in the list of people. You said it would be bad if any live player won, but I don't think that's true if Bryson won.
It's true.
I don't think that we said that. I don't think we said it would be bad if any live player won.
I said it'd be bad. I
Yeah.
said it would be bad if a live player won for good for the game. I don't even really consider Bryson a live golfer. He's like a YouTube golfer.
Which is funny because, as Geoff has long said, he's like the only guy over there who embraces being part of that league.
It's true, but but doesn't he also feel like separate from it in a weird way?
Yes, he's like your favorite uncle that only visits 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah. It's a great spot for him. He can control his own narrative. No one watches live, so no one sees him week to week anyway. No one cares. But people all watch his YouTube stuff, which is curated. It's cut in a certain way where it always makes him look like a great guy, and then you only have to see him 4 times a year. And he's fun when you see him then.
And you never miss him because he's on the internet so much.
Yeah, if you want to
And the TV keeps showing him.
Of course.
He's the only live guy they can't help but show all his shots. They can't help it.
Well, it also worked out last year too that he won a major, almost won, like he was in the top 10 of the Masters. Like he was wildly competitive last year too.
Finished second at the PGA, yeah.
Yeah, second at the PGA, won the US Open, top 10 at the Masters. Didn't really see him at the Open Championship, but people will always rag on the year that Phil and Reed both came second to Rahm at the Masters 2 years ago. It's like, well, they didn't show any of these shots. Those dudes finished like 2 hours before. Like everyone else just kind of collapsed back to them and they came in second.
Yeah, but the point stands out over the last 2 years. If you look at all the majors in totality, you can't say there isn't a inequity in the way that certain players get shown or not shown.
I find that only happens really to Phil and Reed. And if Phil does anything, like if it's fun, good, or bad, they will show it. They just refuse to show Patrick Reed.
Well, no one really wants to see
it. But they show Brooks all the time. Like Brooks is like in featured groups.
Well, because people forget, right, at the majors, this is where all the casuals tune in. And the casuals
so which one is it? They don't show live players, or they do show live players?
They tend to. They'll show a couple big names.
Yeah,
but you're not going to see Adrian Moronk out there.
Well, because he's not in the fucking tournament.
He'll be in one of them probably, and if he is,
I don't think he is.
They won't show his shots.
If he was on the DP World Tour and got into these majors, would they be showing his shots? No.
I don't know.
No.
I can't speak to that.
No, they wouldn't. When he was on the PGA Tour, did they show his shots? No, because he's fucking Adrian Moronk. He's the Polish giraffe. Like, what do you want? Like, if they're not stars, why are they showing them unless they're in contention? Like, they showed Burmeister a ton at the PGA Championship because he was played well.
Maybe that should be one of the separate feeds. Instead of like, Amen Corner, it should just be a live feed.
You
can
just
watch the live golfers.
Charles Schwartzel's running a poll, Tim, on his Twitter for which shirt he's going to wear Thursday, Friday at the Masters. You should go play around.
I don't care enough.
I know I made the comment about Cantlay earlier, but I swear to God, I swear on Justin Herbert's ACL, I will not actually be betting on Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas, or Meghan Markle to win the Masters.
It would be.
I swear to God, these win droughts are not ending there.
Morikawa is the only one I could see. Just because he has been second so long that just you fluke into one.
And unlike those other guys, he has 2 majors to his name.
I mean, Justin Thomas has 2 majors as well.
True, the same major, but you're right, he does.
Well, I mean, you just said he didn't. He does.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. I misspoke. You're right.
So, if I had to rank,
did we ever talk about the fact that my favorite moment at President's Cup was when Geoff and I were watching the Wednesday practice round, and he couldn't pick out Colin Morikawa from the twosome walking up the course? He was chatting with, I think it was Finau.
Oh yeah, he's just so little and docile.
Geoff said, I thought that was a security guard.
Not a security guard. I just thought it was like one of the little stat lackeys. Security guard. No.
Geoff and I were standing there. It's like, oh, that's actually Colin Morikawa, Geoff. Way to be clued in.
So
that was a great moment.
Other than that, I actually think Maybe it's just wish casting because I want him to win because he's probably my favorite golfer at the moment. I bet on him to win this tournament. I do think that Akshay would be just a real jolt to the system of the PGA Tour if he could pull this off. He's like 22, he's fun, he's a lefty, and he looks way different than everyone else.
So who does anyone else like fit that category? Like would be just a great jolt for the tour. Who else? Let's have fun. Not saying you're actually going to bet the guy, but like
who would it be? So I think Akshay is number 1 in the power rankings for that. But other than him, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't really think. I don't know.
Tom Kim.
Yes. Yeah, sure. Tom Kim.
Like Tom Kim's fun. I don't think he's going to win. But he's also one of the few guys, like, the PGA needs to embrace some of these guys now. Like, Morikawa is actually on this heel turn route. Tom Kim, either you like him or you actively dislike him, which is a good spot to be in as a professional athlete. Whereas, like, Scheffler is the exact opposite. Everyone has the kind of same opinion of Scotty Scheffler. No one dislikes Scotty Scheffler. It doesn't seem like anyone loves Scotty Scheffler either. Tom Kim, you either find him enjoyable and fun, or you find his antics so off-putting you hate his guts. Great spot.
I would put Thigala in the same category as Bhatia in terms of like.
I wouldn't at all. Like, Akshay is an outgoing guy. He's fun. He's good on the mic. Thigala is just a reserved dude. He doesn't seem like he's a whole lot of fun. Like, remember when Akshay went on the Corn Ferry tour? He picked up some girl off Tinder and she was his caddy.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Thigala's not doing that. He's traveling with his 17 family members who follow him to every tournament. Like, Akshay is getting out and having a good time. Thigala is not.
I would be a jolt of excitement for Sepp Straka just so that he can serve DC at the next year's Masters dinner. Because that would be great.
You don't think they have?
As I've said before, if I were hosting the Masters dinner, it would be a bucket of KFC, some stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut, and one of those lava cakes from Domino's for dessert.
Well, it's a good thing you have no chance of donning the green jacket, Tim.
I certainly don't.
Let's move on to Jeff's favorite major, the PGA Championship.
I like how you put the air quotes around major when you said that.
It is at Quail Hollow this year, so the Truist, which I think Wells Fargo is now, that's the new sponsor, is not being played at Quail Hollow this year. It's on May.
Oh, it's at the Cricket Club, right? Remember we talked about that?
Yeah,
at the Philadelphia Cricket Club.
Yeah, that's where the Truist is this year, because the PGA Championship.
Yeah, because I looked at the tournament, I was like, what is this tournament at this course that I've never heard of?
That is where Alex Blickel, I believe, played in the Pennsylvania Amateur, Jeff, and I think he came second. He was talking to me about the week that's coming on. We're going to do some cool content around it together because he knows the course so well.
Always down for some Blickel.
All right.
I feel like this was the first PGA, Quail Hollow, where the PGA sort of gained its new status of being a place where it was, even though it was played in August, it was the first PGA I remember in a long time, maybe since the one that Padraig won at Oakland Hills. And that was like 10 years before that, where it was like tough and it was a grind and they challenged you. And maybe because Quail Hollow can play at such a difficult track. I feel like this was like the first year they really tried to make the PGA Championship. It was the year before, or 2 years before, Day went at like 20 under. So this track sets up well for what the PGA Championship and PGA of America wants to do with their tournament.
What year was
Quail
it?
Hollow is also known, Pat, for the greatest golf intro ever from the famous Ric Flair on the TNT or TBS.
This is the last major I didn't see a second of. It's the only major in the past 25 years that I have not watched. I was on my honeymoon.
Hideki, my memory from this is obviously...
I went back and rewatched it. JT won, Molinari and Louis and Reed all tied for second. Fowler and Hideki were fifth. Kisner was inside the top 10 as well, which seems really antithetical to the way that you would think about how this course would set up. Like, who do you associate this course with, Tim?
This course?
Yeah.
Rory.
Yeah.
Like, you just think bombs away at Quail Hollow. Like, Derek Ernst won here that one
but
time.
I think the PGA of America, from what I remember, and you can speak to this better, it's like a totally different course when the PGA of America sets it up. It's like nothing that we know of the usual Quail Hollow.
Exactly, but I just look at those guys like Reed, Fowler, Hideki, Louis, JT, Molinari, Kisner. Like, what is the commonality between all those players? There's only one thing I can really think of, Jeff.
Flushers?
You think those guys are flushers?
Accurate.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of great iron players you mentioned.
If I remember, the rough was up real high at Quail Hollow that year.
All these dudes scramble, man. Greenside. All of them.
Okay.
Like,
my memory from that-
world-class short games.
Pat, do you remember? Because I don't remember what it was, but I remember. Like, did Hideki, was he in the final group? Because he was inconsolable behind like a cabin after this round. He had yet to win a major. Obviously, he carries all that Japanese pride and pressure. Was he in the final group?
I don't know.
Do you remember?
I mean, I can pull up the Wikipedia page for you. PGA Championship 2017 Wiki. Because they go round by round on Wiki. That's always really nice to see. Let's see. The final group going into Sunday, Kisner and Hideki were in the final group with Louis and Chris Stroud right behind them.
Kisner was the leader for like the almost the whole thing, right? Wasn't he 54 hole leader, 36 hole leader? Like, remember, it was like Kisner's tournament to lose.
So you had those guys. Then it was Thomas and Grayson Murray were in the next to last group. This has to be the weirdest one of the final 5 groups ever in a major, Jeff. Scott Brown and Graham Dillette.
Oh, wow. Yeah, again, like on golf course visual, there's like Justin hit that putt. It sat on the lip for like 7-8 seconds and then fell in. And yeah, good for him.
I have 2 bets in so far for the PGA Championship. I have Hatton and Hideki, both at 50-1, which they'll probably be better than that at this point in time, honestly. Hideki's playing like crap.
I've Hatton. It's the only bet. It's either 50 or 55. I would consider Neiman at 40 here.
I don't think Neiman's short game's good enough, honestly. Like, he'd have to pull the Dillette with better putting. And I assume if Dillette was up there, then he putted pretty well. I just, based on that, like, I think Cam Smith's probably too much of an ass because he sucks at driving it so much. But if like the fairway hit percentage is 30%, then I actually would consider someone like Cameron Smith. If everyone's just going to miss the fairways anyway, give me the guy with great irons, putting, and short game. Did my ear?
Yeah, there's
go out?
nothing.
Are you
There's
guys gonna
nothing.
Comment?
No, I'm just looking at. There's just nothing that's screaming at me on these. Like it just everything just seems too crunched. I have no interest in anything on this.
Somehow,
On this odds board, I'll probably be into Ludwig this week. This week, though, I
Might
suspect.
not be a bad track for Hatton.
when I said I bet Hatton,
We just said we bet
I bet
Hatton.
him. Both Jeff and I have.
Oh,
bets
sorry,
on
I
Hatton.
didn't hear you. I didn't hear you say Hatton.
Zalatoris, if
I mean, Zalatoris if you want to find like a discount Zalatoris, if I think that Zalatoris and Neiman are pretty comparable. Maybe Neiman's playing better right now with Zalatoris coming off the injury, but Zalatoris has most of the solid track record at major championships when he elevates his game. If you go look at who's played well at U.S. Opens and PGA Championships, Jeff, Thomas Dietrich has played well at those.
I know this is going to sound funny. Thomas Dietrich's played well at just about everything. Like, I feel like the guy's got good finishes on all different types of courses, field strengths as well.
Yeah, he's comes inside the top 20 of his past 3 majors. So it's been over the course of the
Why
past
would
2
Sung
years.
Jae Im not thrive here?
Because he's been terrible. He can't hit an iron anymore.
Yeah, he has just been horrible. Maybe if Matt Fitzpatrick returned to life, but like to your point or to the point of the one-way traffic, Willie Z is now 40-1.
Yeah.
There were like 75s or 100. He's been playing well, looks healthy, but who's playing like shite? Their numbers aren't going the other way. No one's moving. Like no one. So there's just no desire to make any bet unless you're so confident that someone's going to have a great month or you just like want to call your fucking shot. And, you know, I've been guilty of that in the past. Don't really want to do it now with any of these guys.
Does it make you sad, Tim, that two of the majors that we're talking about, the PGA Championship and the Open Championship, are at courses that just don't have a long history of this event?
Yes, it does annoy me because it's hard to get it's harder to get excited for a major when it's at a place that has very little history.
Well, at least we're familiar with Quail Hollow. It being played every year. It's had a PGA Championship. The President's Cup was just there. Like it's like, and it's all different styles. Like I think if people go back and try to like research who did well at the President's Cup the last time it was there, throw that out the window because they set that up for the Americans. There was like no rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point. Tim, you might be interested in picking David Puig this week.
Look, Puig's a fantastic player who has not performed to, I think, the level of his talent. It would be a great breakthrough.
If Patrick Reed has his game together, I don't like.
How is he even like? He's so irrelevant. You don't even hear about him on Live anymore.
I'll tell you this, Pat. The guy you mentioned last time for the Masters, I think, could work here as well if the game is back, and that's Jason Day, where I'm seeing on 100.
That's actually a pretty. You know what? I probably like him more here than I would at Augusta, honestly.
Boom. I went high pitch there.
Jason Day.
Yeah. Yeah, no fat. We didn't talk about it, but no fat suit at Augusta. Let's hope, God willing. But here he could rock whatever he wants.
He looked fine.
Well,
he looked fine.
When he shows up to the gates of Augusta National wearing a muumuu and they tell him to fuck off.
I thought it was fine. I love
the Malbon. It's fun. It's great. I draw a line at the fat suit.
I thought it was fine. I'm not going to
object. On some of these properties, I've already told my friend who he's literally like me and our other buddies now make fun of him. He's like an exclusively dresses as Malbon. I will report to the club I will rat out my friend if he rocks the suit on the court. I'll send a letter.
You will name names?
Yeah, I'll call it. Yeah. It is just certain places. It's a shrink the game moment. That's not where I want this thing to go. And I get fat. I feel like I've not had a great winter in terms of watching myself. Those pants, it's going to not be fun, but we're still going to have to put them on or take them or have the tailor take out an inch. But no fat suits.
Have you noticed how Pat Mayo seems a whole lot better rested recently? It's no secret. I got my old mattress, took it outside, threw it in the trash the moment my Helix mattress showed up. My wife and I took the quiz on helixsleep.com. We went through everything and we decided the firmness. We wanted the temperature, how we actually sleep. And all of a sudden, the mattress shows up, we lay down, and I'm not having a lot of the sleep problems that I've been having in the past. I just wake up 50 times a night. Not no more with my Helix mattress. I was sleeping on my side with my head underneath my pillow, and I was getting chicken wing for when I woke up, and my back and my shoulders were sore because there was a divot inside my old mattress where I've been sleeping on it so long. Now, all of that has gone. It's been such an upgrade with my Helix mattress that I'm getting full sleep, and even my Apple Watch is telling me that I'm getting a far more full sleep this time. I'm not hitting 54% on my sleep cycle anymore. Now I'm up at like 90%, even 100% some nights. So hopefully this can help you out as well. And you can go to helixsleep.com/Pat Mayo for the March Madness sale, which is 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/Pat Mayo for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/Pat Mayo. Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league. It's sharp, and it's electric. 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime force, and playoffs on the line golf with 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour. The championship is here. Match 1, Monday, March 24th. The top 2 seeds face off, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN+. Match 2 is Tuesday, March 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN+. Tune in to catch all the TGL playoff action. Keep up. It's golf. Well, that brings us to the midway point of the show, which means it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner!
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
That's not what people are calling it.
Tim, did you know that the good people out there on this fabulous Monday can watch us live in Toronto on June 7th doing a Cust Corner live? They can come and see us. Tickets may or may not be on sale as you're watching this.
Well, I mean, it's a live show. I wouldn't want to like frame it as like the entire show is the corner. I don't think that's really what we're going for.
What are you talking about? It's a Cust Corner live.
Like, obviously, that would be part of the live show, but it's just a live show.
What does that mean?
What do you think?
Like, it's not just exclusively a corner.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
probably
that's exactly what it
65%.
is.
Yeah, it's
Like,
probably,
it's just people chatting and having open conversation. And
So
Hold on. Do you think we're
Like,
like,
do you
breaking
think-
down the schedules?
yeah, like, do you think
no?
I'm coming out and doing 30 minutes of stand up before you come on? Like,
well,
what
you
the
don't
fuck?
expect me to come out here and just have nothing but topic after topic after topic.
No, we're gonna get
Maybe
topics.
the list.
We're getting
Putting way too much pressure on me here.
Each
I
of
can't
the
handle that.
Each of the like you come up with like 2 topics, and
Okay.
I
Can I
ask questions?
Yeah, Garion has been tasked with coming up with a topic. So is
Okay.
Cam. So is Rob. And
All
the
right.
audience will ask us and give us some topics too.
Okay, that makes me feel easier because I thought, oh my goodness, there's way too much pressure going on here. If I've got to come up with
But
like
hold on.
12 things.
Like, you think we're giving like a pre-training camp, like preview?
Well,
Like,
I
What do you
don't-
think we're doing? Up
Yeah,
there?
we're breaking
I
down
think
we're
you
breaking
can
down the DraftKings pricing for the Canadian
You can
Open weekend
Okay,
slate.
but not every show that isn't like strictly based on like fantasy football isn't a corner either. Like there's gray
Yeah, but
area.
they're not
between where
live
they're
with
just
an
like-
audience either.
Well, no, but to me it was just going to be like a free forum where we're just going to discuss things and have fun.
Like
and-
I'm going to ask you about your day. Like, what do you? I mean, that's actually probably a pretty good segment. Like, what have you done in Toronto by yourself over the past 48 hours? You'd be like, I haven't left the room, and then we'll be like, okay.
in an ideal world, that would be my answer.
What do you got for us today?
Well,
Jeff was in a self-driving car.
okay, let's talk about that because you sent me the photo or the video of the self-driving car. And I can't describe how terrifying the idea is of me getting into a car where it's just a machine driving me on a city road around places. And like, I've just basically decided to put my entire trust in a robot. My entire life is in the hands of a robot, not a human being who's trained and practiced at driving. A robot that scares the life out of me. It can't react the way a person can react.
Hold on.
probably reacts better.
You have terrible reaction time. I guarantee you, it's safer than
I
you
am not
driving.
a cab driver. I'm not a cab driver.
Most
I'm not an Uber driver.
If you think that you need to be some sort of like
I don't drive
professional
for a
to be,
living.
but you think that you need to be some sort of professional to be an Uber driver.
You're a professional driver at that
half
point.
the people who pick me up in Ubers, I don't know if they have their license or not. That's how bad they drive.
I'm telling you, I trust a human being more than a CPU chip.
So Jeff, give Tim the reasons why he would actually enjoy this.
Well, a normal person, I think, like truly after a couple minutes, you see it make a turn, you see it stop at a light, like you're just then back in your phone doing your own thing. You are no longer like enthralled in it. Maybe I'm jaded, or I wasn't like. I guess Tim would like hold on for dear life.
I would be screaming.
But
There would
Tim
be
would-
terror screams taking place.
There's pros and cons, but there were 2 huge cons, but a huge pro. What do you want first?
Give me the pro.
No, give
Try
him
to
the-
convince me that there's any pro.
Give him the cons, because once you sell him on the pros, he's going to be all in.
No, oh sorry. My cons are his pros.
Oh, okay.
So let me give my pro first. When you enter the car, it doesn't feel like you're interrupting an Indian's business meeting. Like
I
every
want
Uber,
to
like
talk to
every
people.
Uber, it feels like you're interrupting the dude.
The amount of people that pick me up that are just having full-on conversations in a different language and just don't stop. Well, I get they don't even say hi. Like,
That doesn't bother me.
No, that's
That doesn't
fine.
bother
I'm-
me in the least.
You don't
But
find that
okay.
strange?
I don't care. I don't
Sure.
care.
Gig economy, they're on the gig.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're having a business meeting on the other side of the world while
I mean,
I'm in their back seat.
I would prefer to have a conversation with them, but if they're having another conversation, God bless. That's okay.
So what
Okay,
you so
pro-
what so
other
what so what
obvious-
hold on, what you want is your driver not being completely focused on driving. That's what you want. Is what you're telling
As
me.
long as they're following the rules of the road.
Well, how do you know? They're just
Okay.
they're having a conversation with someone.
So there are two obvious other things. One, I guess Tim would love. The other, I guess Tim would love both of these. And all you like the tip factor, sure. You don't have to.
Oh,
tip.
I wouldn't have to tip a driverless car, would I?
No.
Yeah. So that's a big pro. But a con for me is it
Okay.
literally goes by the rules of the road. And I'm not asking you to run a red light, but like
Speed it up a bit.
like, oh, you got to make this green. You could see the clock counting down. Like, it will not go over the speed limit. It doesn't matter. There's no one to say, like, let's go, buddy. You just are getting passed by every car in a way that I don't think you are with the real person who's like not going crazy, but they're driving not aggressively, but they're just driving. So, and Tim would love that, I think.
What's a better drive? That or the quote unquote perfect drive from the condo to the Royal Montreal golf course that you conducted? What was a more perfect drive?
Listen, I would have loved a computer to be chaperoning because I'm in a new place where signs are a different language.
So you're saying that the driverless car doesn't bump into the curb as it's trying to make a U-turn?
I was trying to like jump a line, and in jumping a line, I slow rolled a curb. That's it.
We
But
had
I
a big
got
laugh in
4
our
cars
car.
ahead.
We had a big laugh.
Yeah,
in our
we
car.
were just
What happened?
stopped in construction behind us. Like, I don't think he's gonna make it, and just boom.
It's all right.
Only to hear
Jared
that,
was in
that
the
night.
car. I think
Only-
you were driving because I was too hungover to drive. I think I was
only
still
to
drunk.
hear that night.
And
This
Cust
was a
and
perfect
Jared-
drive.
And
Jared-
Cust was too scared to drive the rental car. I mean, Jared, you had just been around for like a month. I had tossed the keys to the intern because Cust was too scared to drive.
It's probably good that I didn't because I would have fallen asleep.
You did fall
Well,
asleep.
but-
You did fall asleep in the car every single day and didn't remember.
Tim, wouldn't
falling
you
asleep.
love a driver who literally
Yes,
like
I
is
would.
hardcore, like doesn't even know how to break a rule?
Yes, I do. I will say
You don't have
I
to
do
tip,
like to hear
and they
that.
don't know how, and it's like premium safety.
So those are two very positive things, and I support that.
Yeah,
I
and-
still
and
am
you can
concerned
take-
that
and you
driving
can
is
take-
not just
You can take naps. You love naps in a car.
well when people I know are driving it. Sure.
Yeah, but think about if you
Although
bought
I
a car that
actually
was
don't nap
self-driving.
that often. I actually don't nap that often in cars. That was like an exceptional week. I was just very tired. I wasn't in my normal bed. I wasn't in my normal place. I wasn't doing my normal routines. I wasn't having my cup of tea when I always have it. Everything was thrown off that week.
Your evening tea.
I always, if I'm home, I always have a cup of tea before bed.
I'm having some tea right now. I cut out coffee. Well, not completely cut out coffee, but I went down from 6 of these Americanos a day and 24 shots of espresso to
Oh my gracious.
one regular coffee in the morning.
Well, that sounds very healthy. I must say.
I no longer arbitrarily fall asleep at 2 p.m. anymore.
Well, you're not crashing. That's why.
Exactly. So I feel
Yeah,
like I'm
that's
healthier
wise.
now. I'm just drinking
Oh
tea.
no, I've got to have my tea before bed. It makes me. It's like a capstone to the day for me.
What happens if you didn't have your
What
tea?
about a
Do you just
beet
falling
instead
asleep
of
all
a
the time?
tea?
It actually makes me feel a little agitated and uncomfortable.
So have a beat instead.
It's true.
Jeffrey.
I mean, you
That's
wanna
a
get-
good pre-bed.
You
Was
need
it I can't remember if it was Tolstoy or Dostoevsky or someone was like, "Let the world fall apart, but I shall have my tea." And that's kind of the way I feel about it. I will have my tea.
I thought you were talking about Tolstoy beats. That's what he was talking about. He's like, you need to get a good night's sleep, make sure everyone's cleared out of the house, fire that shit up, and you're out 5 minutes later. You're good to go.
No, I really, to me, having a cup of hot tea as I'm winding down for the evening is very, very important for me. And if I can't have it, it's like another reason, like when I'm away from home base and I don't have my tea, it bothers me.
It sounds like, with your tone right now, it sounds like you may not have had your tea tonight.
I have not had it yet because we are recording on this fine Monday, much later than I'm used to recording. So
I
I'm
bet you
also
clear-
thrown off my schedule.
I bet you clearing your pipes would do better than the tea.
I need my tea. As soon as we can
Let's-
finish here, I will be making a cup of
Let's
tea.
throw that into a poll down in the
No,
comment section
let's
right
not.
now. What's a better way to go to sleep? Just before bedtime, should you have a cup of tea or have a beat? What's the easiest way to go to sleep?
This is terribly vulgar. This is terribly vulgar.
No, it's what people do. I'm team beat. Jeff?
Team 2, yeah. Option 2, beat.
Yeah. Tea's not helping me. Tea's just keeping me awake.
Well, you don't have to drink caffeinated tea.
What am I? Yes, I do.
I drink like a lemon ginger tea sometimes, or sometimes I'll go really crazy and I'll get like a chamomile or something.
Just have a beat, pal.
Orange Pico is more of a breakfast tea, and although I do like my Earl Grey because I like bergamot, but again, it's got caffeine, so I try not to have it too much in the evening.
Did you have any topic lined up for us that we didn't get to?
I'm still not finished with this driverless car. I'm still,
keep going.
even though it follows the rules of the road, part of why a human being is necessary behind the wheel is because if something should happen, that car needs to be able to react like a human being does with judgment based on the circumstances. And I have no faith that a robot is able to do that.
Why do you have faith?
How
that
can it?
People are bad at driving.
Because people react based on inputs and outputs that
Okay.
are automatic, and they're.
I'm going to name shame him right now because I'm away on a vacation with him right now. Who would you think has better reaction time driving a car? The self-driving car or our friend Artie?
Artelon.
You mean the guy?
Self-driving car or me?
You mean the
Jeffrey.
self-driving
It was
car?
a perfect drive.
Self-driving car? So you would rather take the guy who is on his phone 99% of the time that he's driving, watching videos and not looking at the road and running into cars that are parked on the side of the road than the self-driving car?
What I'm saying is, in a moment that requires a snap human judgment. What are you drinking, Jeff? A snap judge. Oh, that's awful. Awful. Just awful. A snap judgment. I want a human being to be able to make that call, not a robot that can't analyze things as quickly and as efficiently as a person can.
So let me ask you this. According to said friend that I just mentioned, if you hit a car and knock its windshield off or knock its side mirror off as you just are driving by because you're not paying attention, what is that?
Yeah.
What is it? No, you can tell the people.
No, you go ahead.
It's 50-50. You don't have to stop for that.
My point is, I would rather have a person in the car driving. I feel more comfortable in the car driving. I don't even love using my cruise control much when I drive. That makes me a little anxious. I do it, but like just using cruise control gets me anxious because I'm not in full control of the vehicle anymore.
I don't think I've ever used cruise control.
Really?
Ever.
I've used it on like long, yeah.
I like to.
Even when I use it, I'm like right there, like ready.
Well, I should hope so.
It annoys me more. Like I use it and then I turn it off in 8 seconds. Like it makes me uncomfortable.
Because you're still behind the wheel. If you could press the button, it would go on cruise control and drive itself, Jeff. You could take a nap in the back. It sounds great.
No, it sounds terrifying, and I don't like it, and I don't like what this portends. Because once you have cars that are driving themselves, and you have trucks that are driving themselves, and you have trains that are driving themselves, and you have planes that are driving themselves. And I don't want that. I don't want to live in that world.
I mean, it all becomes safer if everything drives itself. Then you don't have, like, the biggest problem here, the things that go wrong are the other humans that are operating the vehicles. If everything was a self-driving car, we wouldn't have a problem.
I don't trust it. I don't trust the robots.
Why do you hate the robots so much?
The robots are not people. I trust people who have reason and have brains and who have been trained.
He doesn't even trust a robot to bring him like a fresh towel from housekeeping at a hotel. So
no, I don't want that. I would rather go down to the front desk myself and acquire that towel.
they wouldn't.
I mean, I personally, Tim, I've driven with you a few times because I normally drive because I find it terrifying to drive with you. I would rather drive with the self-driving car than drive with you. It's a better drive.
Okay.
And it might actually turn max AC on.
I don't put max AC on. It's bad for the engine. Plus, it's hot enough. Roll the window down.
That's not good.
On all the time.
You're a big guy. I assume you get hot.
Yeah, I actually don't mind. I actually am one of these people who's actually not bothered as much by extreme temperatures as some people are. Like, certainly I mind the heat much more than the cold, but at the same time, I'm not one of these people that and some people just, that's their constitution, that they're very much affected by really warm or really cold weather. It bothers me less than other people.
I'm one of those people. I cannot do.
I can wear a light jacket in the winter. Doesn't really bother me.
You wear a life jacket in the winter? What? So you don't drown in the snow?
Yes, I wear my winter PDF everywhere I go. No, PFD, right? Personal flotation device. Yes, PFD. Sorry. And in the summer, I'll wear like slacks and a long shirt. It doesn't bother me in the summer either.
Ugh. I mean, you wear a lot of layers when we go out golfing, which is...
I believe in dressing in layers. I was taught by my grandmother to dress in layers because when you're dressed in layers, you can remove the layers you don't need if the situation or the temperature requires it.
When we go golfing and it's 30 degrees Celsius, which is what, like 92 Fahrenheit, you don't need to be wearing layers. And
I want to have my compression shirt on underneath of the shirt.
Yeah, but you can't take the compression shirt off. You're stuck wearing it at that point.
Yes, I can. I can take it off. And
really?
Just put the golf shirt
How often have you ever? How many times in your life?
I'm not saying I have done it. I'm saying I could do it.
You can't do it. You think where are you going to go on the golf course that you would feel comfortable enough taking off your golf shirt, then taking off your compression shirt, then putting your golf shirt.
We have comfort huts at like every 5 holes.
You mean the bathroom, which you have described as disgusting and you won't use?
Oh, I wouldn't touch anything in the bathroom, but I could walk in there, close the door with my foot, and then go ahead, change the shirt, put the shirt away, grab a piece of paper towel, open up the doorknob, and walk out.
Wait a second. You won't take your shirt off to switch shirts or something in front of your friends, but you accuse me of wearing a shirt in the pool?
Well, if the shirt fits, wear it.
I don't, but it sounds like you wear a shirt in the pool.
I do not. I'm not afraid to take my shirt off. There's a modesty factor that if all things being equal, I'd rather change in a separate place.
Like the ladies in the group behind you, you don't want to, be.
Well, there's that. I mean, you're also at a golf course. There's a degree of decorum.
Yeah, but
that's not true. If I see the old ladies are in the group behind me, I'll just take my shirt off anyway. Just give them something to look at.
I just think that there's something to be said about when you're on a golf course, a place that is
somewhere you can obviously.
You were going to report your friend for wearing a Malbon sweater. Talk about who cares about
just
what.
Saying there's like a plate. Hey, guess what? I'll pee behind a tree on the golf course. It's against the rules. Could be reported for it.
Fucking pee in the middle of the fairway, Jeff. I will.
But I'm just saying, Tim, there's obviously like a place you can like turn a corner and get.
Yes, you're right. But where we golf, there's enough space. There's enough of these huts that you could do this quietly and it would be fine. Not that I've done it because I don't need to. I dress in layers, but I also don't need to take those layers off. But that's not true. If I have like a compression shirt and then a shirt and then a vest on, I'll remove the vest if I find it's getting warm. Then I'll put the vest back on.
Why are you wearing 3 layers to a golf course in the middle of summer when you know what the temperature is?
Because the winds can change, because you never know for sure whether it could be you could get some rain, it could get windy, it could get, when it gets darker, it gets colder. You know what? What I wear is my prerogative, all right? And if I want to wear 3 layers, then I have 3 layers. I can take it off if I find it warm. And I do that sometimes. Like I said, I will take the top layer off if I find it gets a little warm.
Why don't you just have a rain jacket in your golf bag like the rest of us do?
Because I don't want to have my rain jacket in the golf bag. I don't find I play as well in a jacket. I prefer to play in clothes over a jacket. I find it impinges my swing.
But you're already wearing 3 layers. What's the difference?
But for whatever reason, I feel like I've got more freedom of motion in that than I do in like a jacket.
Do you think that's actually true, or that's just how you feel? Because you don't.
But how I feel is all that matters.
Well,
it's all a mental thing.
I've watched your game go to shit. Maybe you should start wearing the jacket.
My game has gone to crap because I can't have any faith in my swing. That's why.
Well, maybe me and you need to go. I did a sim show last week for the research show. Maybe me, you, and Neil can go to the sim next time, and he can give you tips.
I think I would love that. I'm afraid that I would do to Neil what those people on The Simpsons did to linguo, and blow him up with all the problems that my show has.
So you can't
My swing
complain.
has.
Listen, you can't complain about your game being shit. Be mopey on the course. And then
I
offer you free. I offer you free lessons. You're like, well, I'm just going to work.
I would take you up on it.
Okay.
I'm concerned that I may be damaged goods, but I'm willing to try.
Let's go back. The U.S. Open is at Oakmont.
The best major.
What's that? The best major?
The best major. In my opinion, it's the best major because of the courses.
I prefer the Open, but this is to quote the deceased Gene Hackman, a true blue, Ethel, U.S. Open course, Jeff. This is when I think about
people seen that movie?
What, Royal Tenenbaums? Yeah.
People seen that.
I see enough hipsters dressed as Richie Tenenbaum and Margot Tenenbaum for Halloween every year that it's somewhat, you have to be like our age. You need to be like 35 to 45 in that wheelhouse. But yeah, people have seen Royal Tenenbaums. But when I think U.S. Open...
Why is that act on TV? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Late and I haven't had my... Sorry, it's late and I haven't had my tea.
You
I'm a little
you host
punchy.
the show. You host the show. I'm waiting.
Well, you'll wait a rather long time.
No,
Tell us about Oakmont.
Tell us about Oakmont.
What I remember
most
most
you
about
see what
Oakmont.
happens here? Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off again. What happened?
Yeah. I'd lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Jeff, when you think about the best U.S. Open courses, where does Oakmont rank? Is it 1, 2, 3?
It's definitely right up there.
Is Wingfoot number 1?
Oh, geez. Honestly, they've done such a great job, in my opinion, as has the PGA Championship at their recent course rotations the last 5, 6 years, 8 years.
Cust a big Aaron Hills guy.
Well, Aaron Hills and Los Angeles Country Club were both just poor choices, but it was the first time they'd been to each of those. That's why they hadn't, the courses weren't suitable for that championship.
I actually like Chambers Bay, but that's me. I thought it was cool to
Players hated it.
The players did hate it, and
the problem there wasn't that it was too easy. It wasn't that was not the issue. The issue was that it was just kind of goofy.
It was.
No, the greens got away. Billy Horschel lost his shit there, right?
Yeah, well, so did Gary Player, quite famously, before the tournament.
So two guys who famously lose their shit all the time anyway.
Oakmont's certainly up there. The church pews, of course, quite famously. Everything about this course is difficult and hard and challenging. It's such a pure... When people talk about whether, for example, last year everyone talked about, correctly, that Pinehurst is not a classic U.S. Open course in the terms of its setup because of its waste area. Or they'll talk about other places like the Country Club because they hadn't had it in a while. Not a pure... This is a pure, true... When you talk about the platonic form of a U.S. Open course, you are talking about Oakmont.
I really like Shinnecock Hills, too. I wish we saw that.
Shinnecock Hills is a fantastic course, but it's kind of a linksy course. Now, It works because of all of it, how difficult it is. But this is the true blue U.S. Open course. Super long rough, super tough greens. Wingfoot is similar to that, but Wingfoot doesn't have as many opens as Oakmont does. But this is just like a meat grinder. It is whoever comes out of Oakmont has been battered about and has earned it.
Which is funny looking at it. When you see the overhead view, it doesn't seem like it should be that hard, Jeff. It's just a bunch of thinner fairways. They're kind of like straight holes. You're like, all right, it seems like you can get this going. No, not a chance.
Yeah, some of it looks very, the holes seem very similar, but there is I'll bet beast golfers only.
So
what are the chances on Twitter that week we'll see somebody drop a ball into the rough before the tournament and just to show us the depth and thickness of it?
That happens at the API now if there's too much rough. So
oh no,
I actually thought the players had a good amount of rough in the areas there wasn't. It wasn't built up to the point where it was impossible to get out of, but they really did grow out the rough in the bad. If you miss it here, you're gonna be penalized. And I thought it did a good job of that.
Yeah, that's good. I agree.
It seemed like you actually enjoyed the players?
I watched more of it than I usually do, but of course, like it always does, when it's played at the wrong time of year, Sunday kind of gets wasted. You don't get to see the ending of it.
Well, you just basically said the same thing about the Masters. Should we move the Masters too? In fact, have you
No,
ever
but-
watched a golf tournament that is actually finished? Because it sounds like you
Players in March just hasn't worked. I'm curious to see how long they'll keep it there because it's just not working.
It ain't moving.
We'll
It-
see.
it is not
They
moving.
keep, it keeps messing with it.
It gets better ratings now, and it has produced 6 of the winners that they want to see.
Yeah, they had a great. I saw they had
bad.
a great rating considering it went long. They didn't finish, but it went head to head with the selection show, which got over 5 million viewers, and they still beat last year's number of 3.5.
So, looking at what happened in 2016, there's a few things that I vividly recall. Geoff, you were so happy to hit. You called your shot with DJ. You hit him at 16-1. You know, the squirrel, the blind nut, or the blind squirrel find his nut with the logo that was up there. You were so happy after the devastation of the year before when DJ 3-putted the 72nd hole to lose the Spieth.
I mean, what a relief moment. It felt like Elway winning a Super Bowl. Like, just thank fucking God. We don't have to do this anymore. I'm not speaking for me, but yeah, I don't know, Dustin at US Opens, and I'll be betting the Dustin Johnson profile again.
So you're betting
And I'll be
Ludwig?
paying up for it. Yeah.
I have
for sure.
I have one bet for the U.S. Open in. I bet Willie Z at 75-1.
So I haven't bet Ludwig yet, and the only bet because it's 16, like, I don't know, like it can be 14. I'll make my decision when it's time. I've much like the PGA Championship, I have a Hatton 50 or 55. It looks like there's still a 50 available on FanDuel, so that bet, can still be, that loser can still be yours.
So the 3 things that vividly stick out in my mind from this tournament watching at the time, I haven't gone back and watched the 4 rounds yet, Tim, but I remember Andrew Landry was the first round leader of all people at 4 under. Mm-hmm. It was the first time Shane Lowry made a mark on U.S. soil at a major championship, and he hung and he hung and he hung and finally got by DJ. He came in second. And you remember the penalty that they weren't sure that they were going to assess on DJ?
They held a 2-stroke penalty over DJ's head the entire back 9, which
was like 6 holes, yeah.
Something. Yeah, but he
just marred the tournament.
Yeah, he ended up winning by 3, so they were like, yeah, it's a penalty.
Yeah, it was terrible. I didn't like that. I didn't care. It wasn't the first time that's happened to Dustin, unfortunately. Like, it's just, you guys talked about people who've had high-level golf who earned their stripes. Like, this, I'm not going to say I'm 100% picking it now, but, like, I'm going to probably pick Tony Finau to win here.
Ooh. Really?
I think this is the Tony. You talk about who's the perfect profile for the squirrel finding his nut at Oakmont 2025. It's Tony Finau.
Okay, interesting. He's 50-1. I don't like. I'm not running.
That'll be 80-1 by the time we get
there.
He bombs it.
He doesn't. He doesn't bomb it anymore, though. Is the thing. He's not as long as you think he is.
Is that because he's like ramped down? Like he doesn't try to? Because if he goes full send, he could bomb it, right?
He used to, but he doesn't go full send with his driver anymore.
And hold on, before we go further, like Tim, like he's a U.S. Open champion. He called Wyndham Clark, so we just give him his respect now, people.
When I have an inclination, it's not a bad idea to listen to me a couple of times, even though you're not here for my picks. My picks are bad.
Pardon my ignorance. Did you make picks at the other majors that we did?
He's not. He hasn't made it. He picked like 4 live guys to win the Masters because Neiman's.
No, I haven't made any picks. I haven't made any official picks.
Okay.
But Finau was the one I'll give you this on this show. So I really, unless something crazy should happen, Finau is probably going to be my U.S. Open pick. I just think he's the perfect player for this track in terms of his career, and like everything's sort of building to this moment. And if he can keep it in play, I think he's going to be very, very competitive here.
That would be great.
I actually think,
of course, Bryson too.
Yeah, Bryson. I think Bryson should be the betting favorite at Oakmont. Honestly.
I get it.
Like if the odds stay what they are, and he stays, right now he's 15-1. If he ends up at like 20-1, that's my bet. This would have been like, it's funny because you mentioned Finau, and there's a couple of guys in his bucket that I do think it's really good for. Like this would have been a great Victor spot, but Victor, maybe he figures out how to get it back around because short game primarily at the U.S. Open, I find doesn't actually mean anything because it's just so hard to chip. It's not like an all-world short game gets you anything. It just gives you a 17-foot par putt.
Hey, don't worry. The best Victor number you can get, Pat, 28 to 1.
Yeah, great. But he's 70 to 1 to win the Valspar. The other one, like Ludwig's a good shout. I actually think if Neiman wins one, this is the one that he wins.
Yeah. US Opens, PGAs, to me, they'll go hand in hand. I could see myself being in on a Neiman 40. I don't think that's a horrible number.
So the only one that I've made, as I mentioned, is Zalatoris 75 to 1. I'd be curious to know, now that I've been talking through this, what the biggest Sergio number is. Sergio's always been good at U.S. Opens. He has the right style of game for it, and he's hitting more fairways with that extra distance so far this year that I don't think there's a number as big as 175 out there like there was for the
100.
Masters.
Same with Jason Day.
I see 110 is the biggest I see right now. But he has the right profile, I think, Tim, of the types of players that you want at a U.S. Open. At this one in particular.
Yeah, you make very strong cases.
I mean, you'd probably rather bet Sergio at 110 than Fleetwood at 40.
Yeah.
Right?
I actually think they're pretty good comps for each other. I think that Fleetwood...
That's what I mean. I agree.
As bad as this sounds, how old is Fleetwood now? Maybe that's something to look at. Is he 30 yet?
Yeah, for sure.
Fleet
for
was
sure.
34. Ooh, okay,
Yeah,
maybe it's not going to... Probably would have happened for him already. It does feel like... Fleetwood feels like a guy who will win the Masters one day. To me.
Your mouth to God's ears.
Or he'll go full Rose and he'll just like get a U.S. Open somewhere. Like he'll get one of these.
God willing.
And it'll be like the only thing he ever wins in America.
God willing.
There
are a lot of not players I want to bet on because I don't actually believe they could win, but God, I mean, he's only 60 to 1. Holy shit. Like, if you want to call your shot on Corey Connors to win the U.S. Open.
Wow, I just had Corey Connors up because Corey Connors was just about who I was going to say because I had given up on him because he's been awful at the U.S. Open his whole career, but he finished top 10 last year.
He actually seems like in the same vein as Sergio and Neiman. Like, he has that style of game. He's not as good.
Hasn't.
What's that?
Yeah,
he's just been awful at it before last year.
I just want it more.
Awful.
I just don't want to bet it at 60.
Yeah, you'll get it.
He missed the cut every time of his career except for last year, but he finished top 10 last year. So
I just bet Sergio, by the way. Cool bet, 125 to 1. Same number as fucking Tom Hoagie. I like you, Tom Hoagie, but I'd rather have Sergio, I think.
Yeah, I think Connors would be a good
you know what?
You could bet a 54-hole leader.
Sergio's not even in the U.S. Open. He's not even qualified.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So I need him to get in here. He would actually get in on points through live right now because Neiman would have the other spot. Oh, no, Neiman would take his spot. Damn it.
What about Henley?
I think Neiman.
I mean, I'm not going to bet Henley, but 70 to 1 I'm seeing. He got his win. I feel like he's kind of done pretty decent in some tough track majors where he just, wilts on weekends. But yeah, I'm not ready to make a move on anyone, and I will just pay up for a couple good players. Like, I could bet 3 players, and they'd all be really good and just be satisfied.
The Open is in Northern Ireland this year for the second time it's only the second time at Royal Portrush, isn't it? Tim?
Third time, but first time since 1950 something or other. Right?
In our lifetime, it's the second time.
It's the second time. Yeah.
It was 2019, 7,344 yards as a par 71. If you need to know, holes number 11 and 14 are incredibly difficult. Shane Lowry wins at -15 over Fleetwood at -9, Finau at -7, Brooks and Westwood both at -6, Ricky, Hatton, Bobby Mack, and Willett at -5. I have one bet in for the Open Championship. Do you know who it is?
No.
Oh
yeah, I read your notes. Yes, I do know.
Did you read my notes, Tim?
Good bet.
I did, but I have no recollection.
Does that number still exist?
That number, I can look it up for you right now. Seb Straka, 110 to 1 to win the Open Champ. Doesn't he seem like an Open champion, Tim?
Yes. I would say of all the majors this year, even though he's won 2 Masters, I feel like this is the Scotty Scheffler spot.
Maybe. Here's the thing.
It's not the world's hardest. It hasn't proven itself to be the world's hardest track. Masters and Open Championships tend to be more coordinated. I don't know. Maybe it would be a good way for him to sort of cap his relatively unsuccessful year for him, not for most people, to win at Portrush. I think I'd be afraid of him here.
I mean, he's the betting
More so.
favorite. I mean, I'd be terrified of him at the U.S. Open too. Like at U.S. Opens, he's come 7th, 2nd, 3rd, and 41st. Like he's been good at all of these majors. He just he has not won them yet. Maybe he missed his boat with that sort of thing of his dominance. He's the betting favorite, so of course he's going to have the best chance. But I look at this leaderboard that I just read off to you, and granted, it was very wet that week as well, Jeff. But that is a fucking PGA National leaderboard if I ever saw one. That's why I bet Straka.
Oh, yeah.
PGA National.
That
back
is-
when PGA National was tough, or now when it's
Ooh.
when
No,
it's a
I
municipal?
mean the historic names of guys that I equate of doing well at PGA National are these names: Lowry,
You're right.
Fleetwood, Brooks, Ricky, Hatton, Willett. Like they're all there.
You're not wrong. It is, yeah. So, like,
So
JT's
Highsmith.
won at PGA National.
Highsmith and Luke List. Those are your two bets.
JT's
And if I recall,
50 to
too,
1.
this course felt less like an Open Championship than most of the courses, in the way, like in its lushness and the way it was sort of laid out.
I think it's because
Like,
it was
wasn't
so
the
rainy.
classic links.
I think it's because
So
it was
when
so
I think
rainy.
of that, I think like this is the place where if Bryson's going to win an Open Championship, it'll be here. It
I
won't
really-
be at Carnoustie.
No,
it won't be at St Andrews.
If Bryson wins an Open, it's going to be at St Andrews.
I feel like everybody's open to win it. So you don't have to be a long hitter to win at St Andrews.
Yeah,
I
but
really
the
don't have-
But the last time, if they don't roll the ball back, the next time it's at St Andrews, Bryson's going to drive 7 of the greens on par 4s.
Well, I mean, he was there in 2021, and he
came.
didn't do that.
He did. He came like 5th, and he wasn't as good then as he is now.
All right. True. I think he was probably hitting it as long. But anyway, I know what you're saying.
I really have nothing that stands out like mentally from this course. My only like images are sad face Rory first round and Lowry like hitting a great shot approach shot out of the rough and fans going wild for him.
And Brooks
Can't like remember this course
tapping
at
his
all.
wrist.
Yeah,
In that bright
Brooks,
yellow shirt.
Brooks and JB were like Abbott and Costello out there.
Oh, it's awful.
Like if you go, like could an Adam Scott be good here?
I think if you're going to go, I kind of agree with Tim. I think if you're going to go with the Adam Scott types, like your formerly superstar, now aging into someone, you want them at one of the other open rota courses. The ones that like the wind wipes out half the field and it becomes like a scrambling contest, and just guys who have played in wind for the past 20, like basically where did Darren Clark beat Adam Scott? Was that Royal
Royal
Lytham?
St. George's.
Royal St. George's. And that was
It was St. Anne's and St. Lytham where Adam
Els.
Scott collapsed.
Yeah, don't remind me.
yeah, against
And
Ernie
Ernie
Els,
Els
right?
won.
Yeah, so
But
like,
again, old crafty veteran who knows how to play the links course.
Yeah,
This is
and-
not quite the same type of links course.
and I kind of agree with you. Like again, when you scan that leaderboard, like at the time, you got to remember this is what 6 years ago.
Okay.
Westwood is the only like old guy on that list. Everyone else at the time was like Robert McIntyre was like 20.
And Westwood
Yeah.
also, while never winning PGA National,
Was
he
great
was
there.
always like a guy who played well at PGA National. He lived down the road. I don't know. Minwoo Lee.
Ooh, yeah.
You mentioned PGA National. He's got some of the shot shaping. When it works, it works.
Not currently qualified for the Open Championship, by the way.
Interesting.
He's only in the Masters.
And speaking of Minwoo Lee, Pat, you know, it's sort of like a thing now after just a disastrous Bay playoff performances. I'm getting Ludwig to Justin Herbert playoff comps.
I didn't notice. Did Ludwig have the equivalent of a 5 interception game?
No, the Bay was doomed the moment Wyndham Clark, the best player on TGL, didn't play for them in the playoffs.
I was just, you know, well, the whole offseason, like, can Ludwig win a playoff game? Gonna have to deal with the questions, you know?
Who do you got in the final? Do you have the Atlanta Drive or do you have the rejuvenated New York team in the finals of the TGL? Starts tonight. I
Maybe
love Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I love Atlanta.
Yeah.
Although, since Xander has come back, Tim, from his Marilyn Manson surgery, sucks on the PGA Tour, lights out on TGL.
Does it start tonight, or did it happen almost a week ago?
No, it starts.
No, it starts tonight.
Match 1
The
is
finals.
The final is tonight. It's a best of 3. Match 2 and 3 are tomorrow night.
The 25th?
Yes, so I'm trying to pre-record a segment.
Stop
Tim.
it!
Fuck.
Didn't know that.
You can't just roll with it, can you? It's impossible.
Impossible.
Impossible to roll with.
I am awful. I'm the
Impossible.
worst. I'm the worst.
Hasn't had his tea.
I haven't had my tea.
Victor 28-1 for this major also. One-way traffic. Hatton 30-1.
Is Victor
Obviously-
not going to be on the Ryder Cup team at this point?
Who? No. Listen,
No.
we're doing another show. We will save that for another. I
Would
want to do
you
a
pick him?
quarterly Ryder Cup show soon.
Would you pick him right now?
No.
Yes.
No. Absolutely not. You think if
He would-
if the Ryder Cup started tomorrow at Bethpage, you would want Victor fucking Hovland on that team? What's wrong
I think
with
he'd
you?
be one. I think
What's
he would be
wrong with
one
you?
of 12.
No, he wouldn't.
Listen.
I would rather have Laurie fucking Cantor right now.
Maybe. I think if it ended today, I think like obviously if he shipped for the rest of the year, there's no way.
There's no way. If it started tomorrow, there's no way you could take him. He's broken. If he gets his game fixed,
Oh,
sure.
I agree. But if they had to pick the team now for then, I think he would make the team now. There might be enough equity where if the decision had to be made today, he would make the team. I agree. Like, no way is it a lock, and he's vulnerable, and he better get it the fuck together. But that's all I was arguing for.
Let's see. Let's try to pick the team, Tim. The Europe Ryder Cup team.
The winning Ryder Cup team plus 160.
I don't know if they're going to win, but plus 160 is a good bet.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
Rory, Ludwig,
Definitely.
Rahm, Hatton. There's 4. Fleetwood's on the team. Lowry's on the team.
And Rasmus Højgaard is almost certainly on the team, right?
Let's put Bobby Mack on the team.
Yeah, Bobby Mack's on the team. I mean, Rasmus is probably qualified for the team. He has so many points.
Straka's on the team.
Oh yeah, Straka's.
That's what I mean. I think he's got to be there.
Yeah,
Detry, Rye. I'm just naming the guys we're debating from. Detry, Rye, Højgaards, obviously Vic.
I mean, I still think there's probably a case for Rose if he plays well.
No,
Serge,
no.
You need to have one.
We didn't mention Sergio. Sergio's on the short list.
Sergio.
Sergio's on that list.
I don't think Rose has a chance, honestly.
Okay.
He's just not good enough.
He'd probably
Matt
have to win one of the majors.
Fitzpatrick. I don't know if he's on the list, but
Who?
I guess he's on the list. He's not-
Fitzpatrick's like Vic. Like they're in the same
Cantor.
boat here. So we just named like 20 guys. So for
No,
sure.
we didn't name 20.
Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 15 guys on the
Exactly.
list. And
12.
I didn't put Rose on the list.
We could be forgetting
All ahead of Hovland.
someone.
So Rory, Ludwig, Rahm, Hatton, Fleetwood, Lowry are 6 yeses for sure, right?
And as you said, Højgaard was almost certain.
You're right.
Someone could come and
Point-wise.
catch him. So Rasmus Højgaard and Straka, I think, are both on the team, unless Straka like completely implodes. And Bobby Mack's
I
probably
will-
on the team too.
Okay, I'll give you that. So how many are on right now?
That's 9. So the last 3 spots are between like Sergio, Rye, Vic, Matt
Fitz.
Fitzpatrick, Nikolai Højgaard.
Norgaard, sorry.
No. Not
What about Puig?
I mean, I look at this. I mean, Norgaard is like one spot out of being automatically qualified.
Yeah. But this is
Settle-
the same. This is
settle
the same
down.
time. This is the same fucking thing you said last time, not knowing how these standings work, and you were like,
I can't believe Tim hasn't
Jeremy Paul's going to be on the team.
I can't believe
didn't say
Tim
he's
hasn't
going to be.
nominated Moronk yet.
No, I don't think so. I
Morocco
think
has no chance.
You only guys who are coming off live are like the exceptional guys. It's more interesting on the U.S. side whether or not Brooks goes, which I think he probably would not at this moment.
I think he will go because they're pretty beta at the back.
No, I honestly like unless he does something in the majors, he's in the same boat as Vic. Like you legitimately
Only
cannot
Bryson
take
is-
him.
Only Bryson is going for the U.S. team.
We'll see.
So let's say Brooks has the same performance in the majors as he did last year. There's no chance he's on this team.
I don't think with the depth of U.S. talent you've got right now, you could take him.
And
Are
it's
you
not,
bringing Detry over Vic?
I would right now, yeah.
Yeah. You might, Rye over Vic.
Rye's tougher because it's a bad course for him. Although if I'm the Americans, I might try to set it up for the Rye type players because the Americans have more of those guys now than the Europeans just have bombers.
Well, you can set Bethpage up extremely difficultly if you want to.
I know, but normally you would try to set it up to play to the Bombers' advantage because that was always the biggest advantage that the American team had. Now they don't have that.
No.
So then to Tim's point, if it's just if they set it up for bombers, then gotta bring Norgard.
I mean, I like Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson better than Norgard. That's me.
Sorry, that's the one. Shit, I'm mixing them up now. The one of them hits it fucking huge. Right?
That's Nicholas Norgard. That's who Tim is talking about. He's the one who hits in a mile. I actually think that Nørgaard Peterson is a better player.
And that guy's an amateur right now?
No.
You know who would know? Cam.
You just get drunk and bet them all. All right. Thank you for tuning into the Major Preview Show. I want to thank Jeff, Jared, Paul, myself, all of you, and Tim Cust
Tim Cust.
Not my name.
for being on the line. We're live June 7th in Toronto. Tickets go on sale soon, or they're available right now because we're recording the show early. And you can just hit the Mayo Media Substack link. That's free to join down in the comments section or the description of the show right now. And you can get on the list for it, and I'll send it directly to you once the tickets become available. So if they're not out yet, go do that to make sure you get first dibs. People coming from across. I got a message from a guy in Italy who's coming, Jeff.
Wow. The furthest I've got it confirmed, well, they'll have to get their tickets, but certainly coming is San Diego.
So the way that I have it worked out right now, it does seem like there's going to be some standing room only. There's going to be a bar in there, and there's going to be, I believe, seating for 230 people, and then another 100 people standing only. So there's only like 350 tickets. That's all we got.
Don't worry,
Standing
we'll do a red carpet outside beforehand.
Standing or
so that
sitting,
we can-
you will get to say, see Tim in real life.
And you can buy a guest pass, a special VIP pass. It's only $20,000, but it ensures that Tim doesn't touch you. Like he'll do a faux fist pump with you and a faux handshake, but he won't actually, touch contact. You don't want to get that curse on you. It only costs you $20,000. I'll cut you in, Tim.
I don't want that. That sounds like ill-gotten gains.
I'll cut you in.
I'm looking forward to it. It should be, I'm not looking forward to traveling or being away from home.
It's an hour.
But
it's a 2-hour flight, hour 45-minute flight.
Tim wants
But I am looking forward to the event itself.
Tim, if you could, would you want this to be like you are, say, like an announcer for a game? Like you're
Yes.
literally going to fly in like 3 hours before and fly in
If I could fly in
immediately after.
If I could fly in at noon on Saturday and I could fly out at 8 that Saturday, you have no idea how
doing the
quickly
show.
I'd say yes.
I mean, we can do. I mean, the best I would want to have you there at least for Friday night in case there was some sort of plane delay.
Yes.
Which tends to happen even in the middle of summer in Canada. So maybe the day before, and maybe I can get you out of there Saturday night, or maybe very early Sunday morning.
Let me treat you to golf.
Yeah, if we go up
We
on
can play
Thursday,
early Saturday morning.
we're not playing golf before the fucking show. It starts at 1.
Okay. Well, I just whatever. It's just like to get in and out as quick as possible.
So you want to play a round of golf before the live show that starts at 1 p.m.
Don't you want to spend a few days in Canada's capital?
No, I do not. Upper Canada in the summer is not somewhere I am thoroughly enthused about being. It's too humid.
Why? You could just take off your vest. You'll be fine.
But I have other layers.
Don't no-sell for our audience, dude.
What?
You're like no-selling Toronto.
People know what Toronto is like.
Yeah, but they know Jeff was trying to make it out that it's not the capital of Canada.
No, it's the capital of Ontario.
There you go. You can meet Doug Ford if you're there.
It'll be a fun event. As much as I hate traveling, it'll be a fun event to be there with you people for that time. We'll have topics. We'll have fun. It'll be nice.
We'll have topics. I don't know.
Percent signs. I don't mean to sound like snore card gauge, wart gauge here.
All right, I've kept you guys too long. It's getting late. Jeff and I will be back tomorrow with the Houston Open picks, bets, and one and done. So smash the like and be there for that. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience.
Yeah, Michael Block was annoying.
You hate
I
it.
don't know. I don't hate. I think you gross like. I don't hate Caleb Williams.
No,
Like, I
no,
don't-
you just take delight in their failures.
You also hate Peter Malnati, who was like the story of the year last year because he ruined your bet.
Yeah, you annoyed me last year. That bucket hat.
I watched it back. I forgot that he went out and won that tournament. It's not like Cam Smith. He didn't gag it away. Cam Young, sorry. But Mike Malnati on 16, 17, and 18 just went out and hit shots.
I don't know. It felt like he kind of did a Jim Furyk at the U.S. Open versus Webb. Like he just Cam Young did shank it into the trees, like leading on 17 or 18.
He was one back of Malnati, and he ended up making bogey on 18. He made par on 17. Malnati stepped up to a 220-yard par 3 and put it to 5 feet and made the putt.
Yeah, great shot. He played great that day. I mean, it's hard to play great to win without having played great on Sunday at least.
Yeah, guys, when I went back and like I watched everything going through, I was like, didn't really remember this. But here we are. All right, but now we can talk about the majors. It's been a while. We haven't talked about the majors yet this year. Oh, I got to get Ben.
It's been a while.
Got to get Ben in. Oh, fuck. All right, I'll do that later. All right, let me pull up some Masters odds. Golf. See if they've amended that odd yet. The Hogue Classic. Get in there. I don't even know what that is.
Seniors, I think.
Oh. And it looks like a bunch of people are playing in the Singapore Classic this week.
The live guys?
Live guys like Bobby Mack is playing. Alex Fitzpatrick. All your favorites.
Hey, look, I once picked Alex Fitzpatrick to do better than Matthew Fitzpatrick in an Open Championship, and I won that wager.
That's not what the wager was. You picked him to be better than the other random dude that I had.
Oh, yeah, well, sorry, whoever it was. He finished better than him.
He did, and it's funny because he came like
Alex, top 20 or something.
Alex Fitzpatrick came 8th, and my guy came 11th. You beat me.
They both played fantastically.
It was Matthew Southgate is who it was.
Okay.
All right, let's do this. Are we recording? All right, let's go.
Experience.